Hi, this is Pearl and welcome to my channel. Today I have for you a process video using the Cocoa Vanilla Midnight Kit. Now I'm going through my distress oxides here and I decide to use spun sugar with the blending tool, and I am starting in the middle so that the dark first imprint of getting the blending tool is in the middle, because I'm going to be covering the middle part with my photo. Now a lot of people ask me why I use pink when I'm doing layouts about my boys, and my answer is these layouts are for me. They're not for my kids. They can pry them out of my cold dead hands after I pass away if they want them. If they don't, that's okay too, because I'm making these for me. Even though I'm writing them to my kids, they're mostly for my memory because I have a horrible memory. So I say that I'm going to do this, as a something, in case I get Alzheimer's, I can go back and read these books. So you'll see I did the distress oxide, and then I took a watercolor paintbrush and I splattered water all over it because the distress oxide works with water. So that's why I got those water droplets on there. And then after I let it dry, I'm going through the Cocoa Vanilla Midnight Kit to see how I'm going to layer my photo. Now this is just a quick little layout. It's really simple, and I'm using a lot of my scrap papers to go ahead and layer this photo. And this photo is of my son playing the guitar, or playing, I should say in quotation marks, and singing into the microphone. He was a performer starting at the very beginning. I'm pointing at the date that I wrote on the back of the photo. I like to date all my pictures as I'm printing them out, so I will know how to date them on the layouts. That is really important to me. Either that or I could write how old they are. So I am layering this on the first scrap of paper, which is like a gray jewel tone, and I'm using my ATG to adhere it, and I only adhere in the middle because I like to put foam dimensionals onto the corners to give it some extra dimension. I'm using my Caterpillar Pro, which is my favorite paper trimmer, to trim the edges of it. And the reason it's my favorite is because it's a self-sharpening paper trimmer, and it's got the LED light, so you know exactly where you're trimming the paper. So it's super precise. So after I layer this with a few pieces of paper, I'm going to go and get a doily. This doily is from Hobby Lobby, and I get it in the bakery section, where they have supplies for baked goods. I got one of those, and I'm going to put that behind the photo on the top left. So I'm going to have a triangle foundation from the top left of the photo to the bottom left of the photo to the bottom right of the photo. So that's going to be where my triangle is. So I'm going to take this doily and I'm going to adhere it to the top, like left is where the majority of it is going to show. So once again, even though this layout is about a boy, I don't care if I make it girly. Now, I jacked up my ATG, which happens a lot, but I fixed it. And what I like about the ATG is it's huge, so I can go through and do a lot of layouts before I have to refill the ATG. Okay, so I'm going through the different embellishments that I purchased with this collection. I purchased the entire collection. It comes with a lot of words using brush script, which is my favorite. And there's so many words that you can make so many different types of titles. And I'm going through all the words, trying to decide what I can title mine. So the Cocoa Vanilla does not come with alphas, so I like to use a lot of the words that come with it. So I am going to end up titling this The Story, and I adhered trying to decide what other embellishments to use, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere that down to my cardstock. And I'm using Felicity Jane white cardstock because it's smooth, thick cardstock. Now I'm lining this up so that on my mat, so that it becomes fairly straight. I'm using Stampin' Up! Foam dimensionals, and any foam dimensionals will work, but this is my favorite because it's nice and thin. Although I did find some on scrapbook.com that are pretty thin too, so I think I'll be purchasing from there whenever I place my orders moving forward. So I'm putting little pieces of foam dimensionals to the corners of my photos just to add some extra dimension. And you'll see that I'm going to also add foam dimensionals to some of the embellishments and the title as well. Now the titles, I'm going to put foam dimensionals on there, and I'm going to put the on the top left-hand side of the photo and story to the bottom right-hand side. Now, I like all of my embellishments in each of the 3 clusters to touch. You'll see that there, so that it is cohesive and there's not a break in the clusters, so it doesn't irritate the eye. So it's good to have them all touching in some form or fashion. So I'm putting this mason jar down, and I am just adhering it to the photo, so it's still going to look like it's got an embellishment, a Stampin' Up! Foam dimensional behind it, because it's already popped up from the foam adhesive that I put on the bottom right hand side of that picture. I'm going through my embellishments and trying to decide what else to put on there, and these come with beautiful floral packs. So I'm going to use this tab that came with this kit of the girl, but you're not going to see the girl. I'm just using it as having it stick out of the top of the photo. So I'm just putting some crochet thread to thread the label, or the tag I should say, and I'm going to put that behind the word the, but in front of the doily. See, you can't even see the girl, so mostly I'm using that as a layer and using the gray portion that you can see there. Now, I did go ahead and fussy cut a bunch of the flowers from the 12 by 12 cardstock that came with black and white flowers, and you'll see I'm going to use that there. I'm putting this little branch into the mason jar so it looks like it's coming out of the mason jar. And here's some of the black and white flowers that I fussy cut. Now, Cocoa Vanilla has some beautiful flowers that come in 12 by 12, and I always fussy cut those out in the very beginning when I first get the kit, so that I can just use them through all of my embellishments. Now, I do have my kits always opened and ready for me to use, so that I'm not opening and closing embellishments or anything like that, so it's really easy for me to go in and just use a kit. And using a kit is really easy because it takes a lot of the decision work out. So that's what I like to do. And I'm using a bunch of the embellishments that came in this embellishment kit, and I'm just adhering them to the top left, bottom right, and bottom left of the photo. And I'm just making the embellishment cluster on the bottom right heavy, so it's a triangle, also a diagonal kind of a foundation. So I'm going to add more to the bottom left. You'll see there, I'm going to use my ATG to adhere that, and then use some foam dimensionals to pop up those flowers. I'm going to add more black and white flowers to the embellishment cluster, as well as a flare, the heart flare right there. Now, I don't feel like I need to use a flare to all of the embellishment clusters, because I've got the mason jar on the bottom right, and I've got the tag on the top left. So, and then the flare is what's going to be the third element in the bottom left-hand corner. So after I do that, I am going to go through my Nuvo drops, and I'm going to use the one called Love Potion. It's a pearlized pink, and I'm going to put 3 dots in the 3 areas of my embellishment clusters. Now, odd numbers work best for foundations or any kind of design, because it makes it pleasing to the eye. That's why I have 3 embellishment clusters and 3 dots in each area of embellishment cluster. Then I'm going to use a Zebra Sarasa. It's a dark gray kind of a felt pen, and I got these at Joann. I'll have them linked down below, and I'm just handwriting this journaling, which says, Zach, at 3 years old, you quote unquote play the guitar and perform You Are My Sunshine on a regular basis. You love the guitar and playing with Roy's Samchun. Samchun in Korean means uncle. After that, I'm going to use the October Afternoon Decades date stamp, and I'm going to stamp that right next to my journaling. And I'm using the Morning Mist in the VersaFine, because I love this, because it's gray, and not black. So it's not as stark on my layout. So there you have it. That is my layout, and I'm calling this done. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share it with someone who you think might enjoy watching these types of process videos, and I'll see you next time.